guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Ash.
And this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, this week we were broken with the news that the Spanish Grand Prix had secured its place on the 2020 calendar, and although it has not been confirmed that Hockenheim won't be there, I think this all pretty much confirms it, because that is the 22nd confirmed race on the 2020 calendar. God, lots of 20s here.
Yep.
And yeah, so we thought, I did a poll and a lot of people were sad to kind of see Hockenheim go. I think it was 68% in favour of that. So we thought we'd put a little video together of positives for Spain, positives for Germany, maybe a reason why both should go, and then our general thoughts on the prospect of losing the German Grand Prix and keeping the Spanish Grand Prix. Don't forget guys, if you are new to the channel, you can subscribe to it, you can click that bell notification, and that will let you know when all our latest content goes live. So Ashley, should we get started off with you?
We should do. So, I'm going to start off with a reason why Spain should stay on the calendar. And for me, I think it's just the variety to the track itself. So you've got the combination of long straights, high speed corners, and then you've got that final sector that's got the tight corners and the chicane within there. It's just a well-rounded track that lends itself to some good racing. Yes, we've had a few races that have been a little bit dull, but it is a track that has that variety throughout it.
And for my reason for keeping Spain, next year it will be its 50th race of the Spanish Grand Prix. It will be its 30th consecutive race on the F1 calendar. And that type of history within the sport, we saw it this year at Hockenheim with Mercedes celebrating 125 years in motorsport. These are things that should be celebrated and are big milestones for the sport, so I can see why they would like to do that, and they can drum up a lot of business and enthusiasm, especially around the Spanish, bring a bit of pride in that for next year's race.
And now the reason why I think the Spanish Grand Prix should be dropped, the main thing is the teams do so much at the circuit in Barcelona with pre-season testing being there that there's never really any variety to the results that we get. 9 times out of 10 at Spain you will get a Noah's Ark effect of being the 2x2, and that is because they have so much information that even if for some unknown reason you don't get a FP1 and FP2 that usually causes the shake-up of the grid, they have that information to rely on from testing. So it's one where the track's used too much, so I feel we could have had an opportunity there to drop the race but continue pre-season testing in Spain.
And I think that rounds us off on Spain quite nicely. So that's kind of 2 pros from us and a con from there. So I'm now going to talk about what the positive would have been for keeping Hockenheim on the 2020 calendar. And so for me, it is just one of those classic F1 circuits. You know, it's been around for a long time, having a German Grand Prix for a long time on the F1 calendar. There's been obviously great German manufacturers within the sport, Mercedes obviously being the most recent and most dominant. From there, you've obviously had great drivers in Sebastian Vettel and obviously Michael Schumacher. It's just Germany, when you think of just automobiles in kind of general and you think of motorsport, they are a key part, and not having a Grand Prix, which is the pinnacle of motorsport in Formula 1, it just kind of doesn't sit right with me.
And my positive for keeping Germany would be consistently good racing at the track. It is one where, because of having that long straight down to turn 4 and into the hairpin, you always have battles throughout the grid, and by having that stadium section as well, where you have got that gravel track where Sebastian Vettel went off, there is that risk factor almost in the fact that if you did make a mistake, then you were punished within that. Whereas in some of the circuits nowadays, it's almost if you went wide, you just carry on and then you rejoin the track.
Yeah.
So it was just a classic old school track that punished mistakes, which we like to see because it is the top level of motorsport and you want to see the drivers being challenged. So for me, it's just the layout of the circuit was fantastic. I really enjoyed it as a Grand Prix.
Yeah, and so now guys, I get on to the cons of Hockenheim. So the positive for it, like I said, likely not being part of the 2020 calendar. And for me, it is a Grand Prix that has seen its attendance start to dwindle and its popularity start to drop down. And this is kind of a little bit worrying considering the prime location that Germany is in. Obviously, you know, it has the Netherlands in close range, it has Spain in close range, France in close range. It is kind of almost that central pinpoint for the European
Section of the calendar.
section of the calendar, and everyone can easily get to it, but yet the numbers are dwindled, and it's probably in line with for whatever reason Sebastian Vettel wasn't able to keep up the massive interest in the sport that they had when Michael Schumacher was obviously dominating and kind of being relentless in there. And this is speculation, but obviously they have their DTM series as well. Obviously that was still going on when it was big hyped up within F1, but maybe that shared interest to having a lot of races within the DTM within Germany itself, and having German drivers like René Rast in there, Mike Rockefeller and Timo Glock. Maybe that split interest was too much to kind of dedicate the amount of time needed to make it financially viable to keep Hockenheim going.
So now we're just going to have basically a roundup and say what our views are.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with you, Ash.
For me, I think it's a mistake. The Spanish Grand Prix has never been a race that you look forward to and think this is going to be amazing. So for me, I would have preferred Hockenheim to have stayed on the calendar. I just feel the racing there has always been more excitable, and out of the two tracks, I prefer the layout at Hockenheim. And going back to my positive for it, it was that challenge that the drivers faced when going there. So I would have gone the other way and had Spain being the race that was dropped. And as I said, I would have continued the testing to be there and kept it as an F1 circuit, just not for a Grand Prix weekend.
And I have to agree. I think it's easy because especially in the last couple of years, Hockenheim has been a very good race, but for me, more Germany being the kind of heart of that kind of motorsport community almost, and obviously having great tradition within the sport, it doesn't kind of feel right that we won't have a regular German Grand Prix, because at that stage we had 2 German Grand Prix in a year. So we had Hockenheim and the Nürburgring, didn't we, as well? So Spanish Grand Prix, it just almost more times feels like a procession to me at some things. Hockenheim always brings spice, feels like there is more punishment in general from there, but they both have their positives. I'm still going to enjoy seeing the Spanish Grand Prix each year, and I don't think this is the end for good for the German Grand Prix, but it feels like this Liberty Media wanting to kind of take F1 to new places and trying to drum up new fans. We're going to get hurt losing some tracks along the way that we know and love on the F1 circuit, and Hockenheim's really the first casualty of that.
It is. They've come out and they've said they want to promote F1, and you can't fault them for that. They're wanting to build up F1 as a brand again and try and bring in the next generation of fans, because other than with Max Verstappen bringing the Dutch fans in, There hasn't really been anything recently that's done that. So when we were growing up, Lewis Hamilton came into the sport, and that got a lot of young British fans into it.
Exactly.
So they've come in with a clear plan. They want to expand the brand. Things are going to happen that the older fans don't necessarily agree with, but it is part and parcel of sport, really.
Yeah, you have to be careful not to isolate your existing fans, but essentially existing fans, you don't have to invest as much in them, because we pretty much love F1 no matter what, and we're willing to give everything a
We
go.
love it enough to do a YouTube channel.
Correct. And you love it enough to hopefully watch us?
There you go.
Yeah, we're watching us. But you know, you've got to sustain a sport. Sports are businesses now. To sustain a business, you've got to keep getting new client income, whatever, coming in. Right, I think that probably rounds up, which means step in. And guys, thank you for watching today. We just thought we had to do a little bit of reaction because it is big news to us. It was debating whether it would be, we probably saw it coming when Mercedes were saying things like they won't protect the German Grand Prix after a bad result there this year. No, they've had this celebration and they weren't going to step in the way of it, or the Spanish
really.
celebration of 50 years, well, 50 Grand Prix there. So guys, give us a thumbs up if you like the video.
Make sure to press the subscribe button so you can have the videos going into your inbox, and if you press the bell icon you will get notifications of when they go live, so you can jump on and see what we are talking about this time.
And guys, get involved in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Like I said, I ran a Twitter poll. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, our F1 Fanatics Twitter is up in the top left-hand corner. I think that is there. 68% of you were sad to kind of see Hockenheim go. So yeah, we'd really love to hear your thoughts and what you think of both things, really. But for now, guys, F1 fans, keep racing. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed the video today. It was just that news. Me and Ashley felt like we had to talk about the Spanish Grand Prix versus German Grand Prix, and obviously you can tell by watching the video we were disappointed to see Germany off that circuit for the 2020. Obviously F1 have come out and said that this doesn't mean it's the end for German Grand Prix and come back at a different track, but at least for the time being we won't be going to Germany in the F1 calendar. Guys, don't forget, if you are new here, you can subscribe to the channel by clicking here. Maybe check out one of our videos, our Spa preview videos. So we have Alexander Albon versus Pierre Gasly up here, and what success would mean for both of them this weekend. And why not check out our full race preview down here. Guys, as always, thanks for watching.